everyone. Hello everyone. uh, oh, welcome to Daily Scripting, Day 14. Second take because I recorded 30 minutes worth of footage only for my mic to have been muted the entire time. So we're doing it again. Jesus. Alright. So I've moved to a new base plate. This is Daily Scripting 2. Not only did I do this because the old base plate was getting pretty crowded with random stuff, but from now on, like going forward, we're going to be progressing towards making a game. Because the idea I was given requires me to make data stores. But if we don't have anything to store, well, I guess you could store position. But if we don't have anything to store, you know, what's the point of it all? So we're making a game. What we're progressing towards is being able to fight and kill other people, and then it saves your kills. So we're in the new base plate. I've made this katana, and I'll showcase you the animations. So we have hit 1, hit 2, hit 3, and hit 4. So these are your M1s. It's just like an M1 chain. You have the walk animation, just holding your katana. And we have the run animation, not yet implemented because I haven't scripted sprinting. And this is the idle. So we have a working idle. You walk around. Walk animation works. And you can M1 by clicking. The animations do look a little bit odder in game. I don't know why that is, but as you M1, it procedurally goes through the animations in order. I'll showcase this in the script. Oh wait, first of all, I have to show you it doing damage. Okay, so I've got two clients here. Look, if I click over here, M1s don't hit, but once he's in a 10 stud radius, which should be about like here, he takes damage. I made it deal 10 damage each time, and you can kill the player. So that's pretty much like half of the way. We're pretty much half of the way there already. Alright, now to explain the scripts. So first I have a server script. What the server script does is, as you join the game, it creates a clone of the katana and the sheath. It welds it to you and puts it under your character. Right? This is so that when you spawn in, you actually spawn with the katana and the sheath. I had to use motor 6Ds for this instead of traditional welds, because this is what allows the animation to actually play not just on your character but on the tools themselves as well. They function pretty much the exact same as welds. One problem I was having is I wasn't parenting the motor 6Ds to the right arm or the left arm respectively, and this was causing them to just fall through the ground, as you saw there. That took me a longer time than it should have to figure that out, but after that, I did a weld C0 just to offset it. So like, let's comment this out. If we comment this out, no offset. It's like it's like inside of me, and that's not how it's supposed to be. So put this back in. It offsets it to the correct position that I want it to be at. Okay, next is the local script. This local script is for actually like M1ing. There's a few things I have to explain here. So, as you may have seen at the top, I have a few module scripts, right? So I wanted to make an improvement, like a more cleaner way to make the katana or make any weapons in the future. So I made these modules to essentially one-up the previous katana that we made. So yeah, it uses modules, which I wasn't able to do before. So the first module I have is a hit detection module. It uses the player as a parameter, so you need your own player. It loops through everything in the workspace that's a person. Oh yeah, I have this other script. Where is it? This other script called players to folder. It's basically just when you join, it puts you in this folder called people, and you'll see that here. Workspace people, and that's me. It puts you there. This is so that I don't have to loop through the entire workspace. Basically, all this does is it gets the distance between you and everything else in the workspace. If that distance is less than 10, aka if you're in the magnitude range, and if it's not your own player, obviously, because you don't want to hit yourself, then it gives the opponent. And now if we go down here, User input began. When you click, it does the hit detection. It goes to the hit detection module. Basically, because this hit detection module is returning V, and V is going to be the opponent, we can just set that as a variable, local opponent equals whatever the hit detection modules detect gives us, and we pass the player through it. And now we enter the next part. If the opponent doesn't equal nil, which it'll equal nil if you don't hit anyone, right? If I'm just M1ing space, nobody's in range. That's not going to return anything because nobody's in the 10 stud radius. So it's going to fire to the server if someone's in range. And now we go back to this server script. It fires to this remote event, and when this remote event gets fired, it plays this function. So I have to handle damage on the server, obviously. Otherwise, if you kill someone on your client, it's only going to be on your client side, and that person won't be dead in the actual game. How my damage module works, it's very simple. it's like 4 lines. Pretty much you just need the opponent to pass through it. I don't even know if this requires a module, but whatever. You just need an opponent to pass through it. I can make this more complex when there's going to be different weapons and there's going to be different like varying damage values. But essentially you pass the opponent into it as a parameter, and it just makes them take damage. Next is explaining all of this stuff. This is pretty much just like the original Katana script we had in our original daily scripting last year. Obviously we have an M1 chain. So initially it's set as 0. Then every time you click, every time it goes through this, it adds 1 to the chain value. So then the next time you click, the chain value is going to be different, and it's going to play a different animation. And now if the chain value becomes greater or equal to 4, aka you get to the last M1, then it resets chain back to 0, and it waits an extra cooldown. There's a little more end lag on your last M1. This is just a debounce. It's basically just a timer. So here I have a cooldown, right? I have 2 values for that cooldown. I have active and timer, okay? So when you click, it immediately sets the cooldown to true, okay? And then you have to wait the cooldown timer, which in this case is 0.7 seconds. You have to wait the cooldown timer for it to turn false. By the way, this can only run while the cooldown's false, right? So if your cooldown is off. Oh, and the final part is the animation handler. I'm quite proud of this. Scripted it this morning. Okay, so this is where it gets a little complicated. So the animation handler, it needs 2 things, okay? It needs your player, and it needs the weapon that your player is using. So in this case, we're using a katana, and this is the player. So we're passing through this, right? Passing the player and the katana as parameters. So when this module runs, it's going to use those parameters. So first, what it does is it loops through everything in your character, right? If I go in game, go under people, under JADL, it loops through everything here. And it just looks for models, okay? Just looks for models, that's what this type casing is. If the model's name is the name of the weapon that you pass through it, then that's the thing that you have equipped, and therefore the folder with all the animations in it is going to have the corresponding name, or that's how I've set it up. So basically what this does is it sets the animation folder to the corresponding folder that has the same name as your weapon. So it goes game.replicatedStorage.animations, and then in this instance it's katana, so it's going to go katana, and that's the animation folder. Okay. Next, it loops through the animation folder, so it gets everything inside of it. That's going to be all the actual animations that we're using on the katana. And what it does then is it makes animation tracks out of all of them. This is so that I don't have to have that huge code where I got to go, local animation equals game.replicatedStorage.animations.katana.idle, for example, and then we got to go local animation track equals character.humanoid load animation idle, or animation in this case. I would have to do that for every single animation. And so how much do we have? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's how big it would be, okay? But now Actually, I guess that doesn't change anything. But pretty much, I think it's cleaner. It makes it so I don't have to define the animations every time and then make tracks out of them. This just does it for me. So it makes an animation track out of all of the animations in here, and then it names them based on the name of the animation. So V2 in this instance is going to be any one of this animation. So let's say, firstly, it's doing idle. It'd be like, this would basically be idle track. And then the next one would be hit one track. That's what that produces. So it's basically naming all of the animation tracks, and what that allows me to do is it allows me to sort it later. Okay. But first, once it names all of them, it inserts them into this empty table that I initially stated up here, and then it returns that table later. But first we sort it, right? We sort it in alphabetical order so that it produces a table that's like clean to read through, and that isn't in a random order, so that when I'm on the local script, I can actually set the animations as definite numbers rather than it being randomized in the table, if that makes sense. So yeah, it sorts through them alphabetically and returns it, and now we go back to the local script. We define the module, we require it, we set the animations as whatever the module returns back to us by passing the parameters through it. Now that'll give us a table. And this table has all the animation tracks in it. And so I just set the first track is 1, second track is 2, third track is 3, fourth track is 4, and so on and so forth. Whatever animations I add, I can just set them as numbers, which is, in my opinion, a lot cleaner than how I was handling it before. And then later in the script, we can just play the animation tracks. As you can see, it works just fine. Also, something I was having trouble with, but I managed to figure out, was replacing the in-game animations. So all I did was, I went in game, I went under my player, I copied the animate script, I put the animate script in starter character, and then I changed the actual animations inside of the script. So I replaced the idle ID with this idle ID, replaced the walk ID with this walk ID, replaced it in the script and under the actual instance, like so, and that got it to work. In the first recording of this video, I did that live because I was going to complain about how it doesn't work, but it ended up working, so that's one thing off my chest, but that's pretty much it. So tomorrow's probably going to be the data, like when you actually kill someone, it stores it. One thing I also want to do is using actual animation events, so that when you get hit, you don't just take damage instantly, but you take damage on the frame that the weapon actually hits you, because that's logical. Anyways, that's all.